ActBlue getting some inquiries from Congress, going to 3 different agencies now, from the House Committee on Administration. You see, this letter is going over to Janet Yellen. We've got another one going to Christopher Wray at the FBI. And then we have Avril Haines, Director of National Intelligence, all being asked about ActBlue. Story in the background comes from our friends at Just the News, John Solomon, saying Congress is expanding this. We've already talked about a lawsuit that was brought by a Republican person whose identity or alias pseudonym is being used by ActBlue, and thousands of dollars have been donated in his name that he knows nothing about or gave nobody permission. They're using an Amex from some shell company is what it seems like. But now Congress is looking into it. Bombshell letters that went to Treasury Secretary, FBI Director of National Intelligence. This was sent over by Brian Steele and Ron Johnson, so a House chairman and a senator. They said Congress is probing whether 4 specific foreign adversaries have routed money to Democratic Party campaigns. So that ActBlue money, the pattern whereby they make thousands of donations using one person's name. It's usually, I would imagine it's bots that are doing these because the transactions are too numerous. But in the transactions, they're very small, right? $4, $5, $16, $25, but thousands of them totaling tens of thousands of dollars. And they're all so small that the recipient in Congress doesn't have to aggregate them and then report them according to one particular name. So then they can send through one name thousands of dollars, maybe over certain guidelines, to many different people without flagging any limitations or actually without having to report anything because it's all small numbers. Then when you look it up on the donor side, you can then go find their names and say, wow, they've donated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to thousands of donations. Now, they wrote a letter. They're demanding access to SARS, suspicious activity reports, which are some of the most sensitive documents that the industry files with the government. Federal law requires banks to file SARS no later than 30 days after the date of an initial detection of transactions that raise red flags. If there's cash movements that exceed $10,000, if there's suspicious activity that looks like money laundering or tax evasion, they need to file it. They demanded some answers because they think that there is smurfing happening. Steele told John Solomon earlier this month that he believes many Americans are victims of fraud, saying there's great concern that people will be unwitting straw donors, meaning an individual is simply typing in their information and then using a financial payment not associated with that individual. So it's fake names. The practice has been given the name of smurfing. The practice evades FEC reporting requirements and creates the illusion of thousands of small donors to a campaign. It's all fake. Both Steele and Johnson began probes dating back to 2023 targeting ActBlue. 2 months ago, they also completed a computer analysis of hundreds of thousands of small donos passing through ActBlue to Democratic candidates. Those findings led Steele to refer evidence to attorneys generals in 5 states for possible criminal or civil investigations. We'll see if they do anything about it. We also saw the lawsuit in Wisconsin. Mark Block, we read through that, very interesting filing, because he was the recipient of this. He had a different name that he was using for spam emails, and then that name got gobbled up, and someone apparently is making donations under those names. And so the letters went out. Let's take a look at what is inside. You can see this one went over to Janet Yellen, Department of Treasury. As chairman of the committee, they say, and ranking member on investigations in the Senate. We've got broad oversight here, Janet. We write raising concern about illicit funding by foreign actors. Now, we've been investigating claims that foreign actors from Iran, Russia, Venezuela, China may be using ActBlue to launder illicit money into U.S. political campaigns. Our investigation has indicated that these actors may be exploiting U.S. donors by making straw donations without their knowledge. Now, similarly, as ranking member of PSI in the Senate, Johnson wrote to the FEC in April because there was a video from James O'Keefe, shout out, making his way into congressional letters. Amazing. in March 2023, alleging that political donations are being made in large amounts to certain political groups without the donor's knowledge. The FEC refused to confirm or deny whether it's even investigating this. They're like, what are you talking about? It's fine. During our investigation, evidence has emerged pointing to illegal donations being broken into many smaller donations made in the name of existing ActBlue donors and without their knowledge. This practice is known as smurfing, where illicit actors use prepaid debit, credit, or gift cards in the names of legitimate donors to make straw donations that are virtually impossible to detect. In October 2023, we sent a letter to ActBlue inquiring how it prevents contributions from foreign sources and whether it requires card verification value CVV numbers associated with the credit or debit card used when making a dono. ActBlue responded, explaining that it did not require contributors to provide their CVV when making an online contribution. Oh, you're kidding. The failure to verify donor identity may have allowed foreign actors to fraudulently participate in the political process in the U.S. And we saw a similar thing that Obama was doing back when Obama was running. And he had to pay an FEC fine for that. Now, following this info, we sent a letter to the FEC saying, wait a minute, they're not verifying that this money's coming from local people? We asked the FEC to initiate an emergency rulemaking process to require political campaigns to verify the CVV of donors who contribute online, and a rulemaking to prohibit political committees from accepting online contributions from gift cards or credit or debit cards, right? It's all just foreign money. CHA, and when you see, wow, Kamala got $1 billion, where'd it come from? Who knows? CHA also introduced HR 9488, the Secure Handling of Internet Electronic Donations, the SHIELD Act, that would prohibit political committees like ActBlue from accepting online contributions from debit or credit cards without the disclosure of the CVV, the billing address associated with the card. The legislation would prohibit the acceptance of contributions from gift cards, prepaid credit cards, or debit cards, or gift certificates. The bill would also adopt a bipartisan legislative recommendation from the FEC to prohibit individuals from knowingly aiding or abetting someone that makes a contribution in the name of another person. This won't pass because they're getting a bunch of money. Congress our donos will dry up. Are you kidding? This won't pass because they love it. We also conducted a comprehensive analysis comparing over 200 million FEC donation records with data, age, party affiliation, number of donos, consumer purchasing power, and net worth. This study revealed several anomalies and mismatches in the FEC records, suggesting that foreign entities may be using these tactics to interfere with our elections. Yeah, but it's Russia's Facebook ads. Give me a break. Now, disturbingly, when Ron Johnson asked the FBI director, Christopher Wray, during a September secure briefing about election security and what the FBI was doing to investigate this smurfing, Director Wray seemed clueless on the issue and had no idea if the FBI was doing anything to investigate it at all. Oh. The other briefers, Avril Haines at the DNI and CISA director Jen Easterly, they all remained silent on it until we can't touch that. Based on the evidence gathered, we referred this matter to several state AGs, Arkansas, Florida, Missouri, Texas, Virginia. Additionally, we've consulted with experts in money laundering, terrorism, finance, credit card processing to better understand how these foreign actors are exploiting our dono systems. Now, to this end, we look forward to an upcoming non-classified briefing with the Financial Crimes Network called FinCEN to discuss how the agency is attempting to combat illicit election funding. Now, in light of these findings, we request that the department make available to our committees all SARS, all suspicious activity reports related to ActBlue, specifically regarding fraud, money laundering, identity theft, the use of prepaid credit, debit, gift cards in this context. We're aware that another committee, Oversight, Comer, has also requested access to the SARS and ActBlue, and the department is preparing these SARS for review. We are particularly interested in any SARS that mention ActBlue and indicate any potential interference between foreign actors from Iran, Russia, Venezuela, and China. It's just amazing. They just talk about those countries. Really, only those countries. Got it. And what about individuals? Is it only countries that we want to go to war with? Or is it other countries that may also be trying to influence our election? And also, could this be applicable to individuals like George Soros or other people who are aligned with foreign countries and non-American interests. Further, we request the department provide a classified briefing on the above-mentioned SARs and any information to the department has regarding foreign interference into our elections by those four countries. Due to the potential threat that this poses for the security of our federal elections, we request that the department contact CHA by close of business to schedule a briefing no later than October 30th, 2024. Please contact. Honestly, I'm a lot less concerned about foreign countries interfering in our election. I'm sure they're funneling money in somehow, some way. We've seen that already in open records. We saw what happened with Mayor Adams and Turkey. We saw what happened with, I think it was Egypt and Menendez or some other country over there. Hunter's been around with all these countries. Ukraine was paying Hunter $83,000 a month, right? I'm also concerned about the EU, which is trying to censor our social media companies. Same thing with the UK, putting people in jail over there for trying to censor free speech and rig elections by censoring free speech in America. Apparently, we've got parliamentarians or something from the UK coming over here too. Yeah, all right, you get the point. Now, where is all this money coming from? Is Congress really concerned about it? I don't think so. At least the people who are getting paid this way, they're like, oh, crap. That's where we get all our re-election money. They're going to turn that off? That's not good. Janet Yellen got one. Christopher Wray got one. Let's see where this letter differs at all. Saying, we sent a bunch of letters. Disturbingly, they asked you, Chris, what you were doing to investigate this. You had no idea. Everyone else was silent about this. And so Chris, Wray, FBI, we're interested in any relevant investigations or intelligence that you are investigating that relates to ActBlue. So let us know by the end of October. Sincerely, your friends, Brian Steele and Ron Johnson. And then the final letter went over to the Director of National Intelligence. And remember, the DNI is like the hub of the wheel. And then all the different intelligence agencies, FBI, CIA, NSA, CIS, all of them, whatever, go around 18 of them because we're intelligenced to death already. But then she's supposed to be the one who's in the center saying, we've also demanded that you look into this, and you sat there silent. The other briefers, including yourself, were silent about this. So why don't you give us some information as well on how this is all working? Sincerely, your friend, Brian and Ron Johnson. Now, what is the DOJ doing? What are our prosecutors doing? Are these people investigating and finding fraud and criminality and turning it over to the prosecutors to investigate? No, of course not. What are they doing? They're suing Virginia for trying to clean up their voter rolls. So they want a bunch of dirty money and they want a bunch of presumably ineligible people to be on the voter rolls so that they can win and then turn around and call this a free and fair election. Here is the Virginia governor responding to this and saying the DOJ is acting out of proper turn.
Yeah, to be clear, this is not a purge. This is based on a law that was signed into effect in 2006 by then Democrat Governor Tim Kaine. And it starts with a basic premise that when someone walks into one of our DMVs and self-identifies as a non-citizen, and then they end up on the voter rolls, either purposely or by accident, that we go through a process, individualized, not systematic, an individualized process based on that person's self-identification as a non-citizen to give them 14 days to affirm they are a citizen. And if they don't, they come off the voter rolls. And by the way, they have one last safeguard, which is they can come and same day register and cast a provisional ballot. And so to describe this as something that's a purge is completely inaccurate. It's wholly consistent with the U.S. Constitution, the Virginia Constitution, and Virginia law. And just recently, of course, what we found was that back in 2006, the then Justice Department actually approved of this law and said that it is not only further constitutional, but we have given it thorough review and we're okay with you moving ahead with it. And now, 25 days last week before the election, the Justice Department decides they are going to bring suit after this law has been in effect for 18 years, administered by Democrat and Republican governors. And this is the reason why I believe that Americans and Virginians wonder what the Justice Department is up to. It's been in effect for 18 years. It's been applied universally by Republican and Democrat governors. And now all of a sudden, when Virginia is getting tight, it launches a lawsuit against the Commonwealth of Virginia when we are trying to make sure that citizens vote, not non-citizens.
Why is that? That's because it's getting tight. They don't want to lose it. And they know that if they keep those people on the rolls, they'll have a bigger shot at winning it. And this is their strategy, not only in Virginia, but everywhere across America. They are filing lawsuits. They're prosecuting their political opponents. They're trying to throw Trump off the ballot, tried, failed, and more, because this is all they've got.